StraighTAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is, ladies, I told you we were coming. Topic today is Femininity Is A Skill. Now, I mentioned a few days ago when we were talking about masculine movement, the masculine movements. I even forget what the title of that episode was. We talked about masculine movements a few days ago. And I told you that I had something coming for the ladies, and I wasn't joking. All right, it's coming. And not only today, but the day after this, and the day after that, and the day after that, we're going to talk about things from the perspective of a man, because I am not a woman. I do not identify as one. I am a man. I identify as a man. But I want to talk about things that the women should understand from the perspective of a man. That's the way that we're going to talk about this. And again, this is going to be the next 3 episodes after this one. This is not a 4-part series. This episode is going to be this episode, and there's going to be 3 more standalone topics that are all around, based around the female, that we're going to be talking about here on this platform. And being that I dedicated time to talking about my problem with Western society's collapsing, which is generally based on men not doing their job, directly based on men not doing their job. How I talked about how men have become pussies, and I gave a 4 or 5-part series on that. And anytime I'm trashing society in general and talking about problems in society, I'm always blaming it on men, because it is always men's fault, because it is a man's job. A man's job is to lead. Now, if you're a woman out there and you agree with the fact or the belief that it is a man's job to lead, and you as a woman have no problem being behind a man who is leading, but not behind a man who is not leading, good. Because what I'm going to tell you here today is what a man who is leading is looking for in a woman. I'm going to tell you that in today's episode. And let me see what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Yes, it's going to be in tomorrow's episode too. Again, different topic. Again, in the episode after that, different topic. And again, an episode after that. So the next 4 episodes, we're going to be talking about this for the women. I know I have women in my audience. And if you're a man in this audience, please listen to these episodes, because I'm going to be describing to you the things that men who are in their proper position, in their proper frame, are looking for in a woman. So you need to check yourself and check your search terms, metaphorically speaking, to make sure you're matching what I'm going to be telling you here. All right. And the topic here today, again, is femininity is a skill. Now, as we have been talking about masculinity, and again, how men need to get their shit together to bring society back to where it needs to be, we still got to give some material to the females for a couple of reasons. A couple which I already laid out. For one, the men who I talk about in these episodes on men and masculinity are generally heterosexual men. I don't think I have a lot of gay men listening to my show. But if you are gay, shout out to the gay men listening. But mostly the topics I'm bringing up are based on a heterosexual male frame. And heterosexual men, guess what we're interested in? Feminine women. Now, heterosexual and feminine women. Not masculine women, but feminine women. And for 2, there are women who listen to this show, so it's only right that we somewhat balance out the conversation by talking to the female side. We're not going to completely balance it out, because, again, I'm a man, but we can balance it out somewhat by putting some stuff on the other side of the scale. Because personally, as a man, I'm better equipped to hold men accountable than I am to hold a woman accountable. But most of the stuff I talk about here can apply to both men and women, as most of you already know. But on these subjects, of course, I'm going to be more specific. So today, let's get started. Point number 1. Today's topic, once again, is femininity is a skill. Number 1. Femininity is not a natural trait or talent, which means if you do not have it right now, or you think you don't have it, or someone accuses you of not having it, the good news is you can go get it. It is learned in practice. It's kind of like dribbling a basketball. Some people, it may seem that they have a natural ability at it, and maybe some people do, but you can develop this ability. I became really, really good and really proficient at dribbling a basketball in my days as a basketball player. I'm going to go on YouTube right now and see if I can pull up some Dre Baldwin dribbling videos just to show you how proficient I became, at least according to the YouTube audience, when it came to dribbling a basketball. So Dre Baldwin's full dribbling workout. This has 1.1 million views. Simple daily dribbling drills. Simple daily dribbling drills has 522,000 views. Dribbling with your fingertips only. This has 14,000 views. I'm just looking at random videos that pop up. Ball handling rhythm. I did so many ball handling drills. If I listed all of these, it would take up the whole amount of time that I would use for this episode. Daily dribbling drills, Santa edition. I did dribbling drills with a Santa hat on. And speed dribbling full court drill. This has 23,000 views. Full court quickness drill, 29,000 views. I got a lot of these. Passing drills. This is ball handling, 30,000 views. Signature move, high leg crossover dribble. This has another 18,000 views. I got a whole lot of these. And here's another one. Every basketball dribbling move explained in 3 minutes. This has 254,000 views. And then work on your handle. Ball handling Z dribbling drill, another 8,000. Anyway, you get the point. I became pretty good at teaching people how to dribble a basketball. I'm not telling you that to impress you, but to impress upon you. When I first started playing basketball, I could not dribble the basketball. I was not good at it. I would not even try in a live game action to dribble the ball because I knew I couldn't do it. I knew I would probably end up dribbling the ball off my foot or getting the ball stolen from me or looking like a fool, so I didn't even try. That's how bad I was at dribbling the basketball. And at the same time, by the time I was into my 20s, I was so proficient at dribbling the basketball that I was teaching other people how to do it to the point that millions of people have learned how to dribble a basketball through watching me. I'm saying all that to say, it's just like dribbling a basketball. Femininity is a learned and practiced ability. Okay, because my ability to dribble was learned and practiced. Your ability to be feminine, ladies, can be learned and practiced. Being a female does not make you feminine. Same way to being a male does not make you masculine. Same way to being black doesn't make you a basketball player. All right, most of you have enough life experience to know these things are true. Femininity, which is a high-level trait, requires a certain level of refinement, discipline, and understanding, and then an appreciation of all those things above that I just said. What's happening these days, interestingly enough, is that a lot of women are being trained out of femininity in favor of feminism, which is different. Feminism is more about what they ostensibly say equality of genders, but it goes deeper than that. That sounds good. That's the corporate definition, just the equality of genders. And so we're just equal. Okay, who could go against that? See, that's how they slip shit in. But it's more about women being taught and believing that they can compete with and subjugate and dominate over men or a man, which is a falsehood. That's what feminism is really about. Even though if you ask them what does it mean, they say, oh, we're just about equality. No, it's not equality. That's a masculine way of thinking to even think that you can subjugate, dominate, or compete with a man. A woman trying to compete with a man is in her masculine, period. I don't care what you're competing in. You're in your masculine when you're doing it. If a man and a woman play a sport against each other, the woman is in her masculine in the moment that they're playing the sport. It doesn't make her wrong. That's just a masculine. Competition is a masculine thing. It's a masculine thing to engage in. Again, it doesn't make you wrong to do so, but it is masculine. And today we're talking about being feminine. So remember that the opportunity is always in the opposites, folks. The woman who is capable of being feminine in a world where many women are being turned away from femininity, there's a golden opportunity for you because there's no competition. What used to be taught by feminine women in your lives, such as your mothers, your aunts, and your grandmothers, is now being replaced with social media, which is a much more of a mixed bag of nonsense, negativity, and bad information from alpha women who are presenting themselves as being equal to or better than or dominant over a man. You don't want to deal with these women, and you don't want these women teaching you how to be, because all they're going to teach you to be is more like them. And one thing I can guarantee you with these alpha women, they do not have masculine men around them, because a masculine woman and a masculine man will clash, especially in an intimate relationship. That's not going to work. Even two gay guys in a relationship, one of them has to be the bitch. One of them has to be feminine, one has to be masculine. Two gay women in a relationship, one of them got to be the bitch, one of them has to be the man. Or the butch, as they said. The bitch and the butch. All right, that has to happen in every relationship. Any intimate relationship between two people, there must be one masculine and one feminine. So if a woman is masculine, the only man she can get is a feminine man. She can't get a masculine man. It's impossible. They don't mix. It's oil and water. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is femininity is a skill. Number 2. Femininity is powerful, when properly controlled. When properly controlled. Now, there are a lot of people out there who have, one second here, I'm taking some notes, something that came in wrong. Okay. A lot of people have trashed the concept these days. This has become alarmingly more popular. A lot of people trashing the concept of being feminine as if feminine means being weak and having no power or control over your life or over your situation. A lot of people have created this false frame. This is not true. True feminine energy is actually magnetic and is also very persuasive. When you're in your true feminine, you are very magnetic and very persuasive. Any men out there, you ever go to a public place and you come across a woman who is deeply in her feminine, and it's not just about how she looks, but it's her energy. Femininity is an energy, it's not necessarily a way of looking. When a woman is deeply in her feminine, she is attractive to heterosexual men. She just attracts the energy of the men. Doesn't mean the men are going to do anything or even say anything. Some men may be intimidated to say anything or do anything, but they all notice her. Like, a woman is deeply in her feminine, every man notices her. Why? Because the energy is coming off her. The same way when a man's in his masculine, every woman notices him. Again, doesn't mean she's going to do anything, but they notice because they can feel it. It's an energy. And remember, folks, energy is contagious. Energy cannot lie, and energy is everything. These are the laws of energy. So true feminine energy, again, is magnetic and persuasive, but toxic femininity, on the flip side, remember there's a trade-off to everything, can be highly destructive. Any of you ever been around a toxic woman, or any of you women ever been toxic, you know that your energy can be highly destructive by the same token. A feminine woman can have a ton of influence over a powerful man, even though she is not influencing him by physical subjugation, which she probably is not physically capable of. But she can have a lot of influence over that man. She can control and draw all the attention in the room, a feminine woman that is, and she can create peace amongst powerful men. And at the same time, she can also destroy all of those things just as easily as she can build them. So when you're strongly in your feminine, the same way as a man strongly in his masculine can have a lot of building powers, creation powers, and a lot of destructive powers, depending on how the energy is used. A toxic masculine man can destroy an entire town. Same way a positive masculine man can build a town. Same thing with a female. She doesn't do it through the same means as a man, but she can have the same effect as a man when it comes to feminine energy. The energy is just as strong. This is the point here. So femininity is far from weakness. That's not what it means. So any of you women who have been taught that femininity means weakness, you have been taught wrong. And I apologize on behalf of the alpha women who have taught you this bullshit, because that's not true. Femininity is much more about precision and energy and presence than it is about weakness. And remember, any undisciplined energy can undo and destroy the same way that it can build and create. Just again, as I said, a masculine man needs to discipline his masculinity to avoid chaos and disorder. A masculine man in his toxic can be very, very destructive. All right, your mass shootings are masculine men. All right, that's where it's coming from. Masculine men who are in their toxic energy, they take that masculinity to a chaotic state, and then they go do very chaotic things through that masculinity. Notice that most mass shooters are not women, even though a woman can operate a gun just as easily as a man can. Why are most mass shooters men? Because it takes a certain amount of energy. It's not physical capability. It's not like a mass shooter's running in beating people up. They're running in firing a gun. A woman can fire a gun. Why are most mass shooters men? Because it takes a certain amount of mental and spiritual energy that only men have to do that. A woman would never do that. A woman just it's not her makeup to do something like that. Let's not say never, but you get my point. Just as a masculine man needs to discipline his masculinity to avoid chaos and disorder, a feminine woman needs to do the same thing with her femininity, because a woman can create chaos and disorder, again, though not through the same physical means as a man. She can create the same amount of chaos and disorder through her own methods. Point number 3. And actually, before I even get into point number 3, any men here who ever been around a woman who is in her toxic feminine, you understand the amount of chaos that she can create, even though she's not doing it through the same means that you would create your chaos. Is this true? Of course it is. And ladies, listen to this. You ever been in your toxic feminine? And all of us have been in our toxic masculine or feminine at different times in our lives. We can all think of some of the shit that we did and the damage that we caused because of that toxicity. True or not? Now, point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is femininity is a skill. Number 3, femininity is something that is claimed, not performed. Femininity is not a performance. Same way that masculinity is not a performance. This is where there's a stark difference between the feminine and the masculine. All right, these are not the same thing. Where masculine energy is often judged by performance and at the same time being an inner energy. That's what masculinity is about, a performance and things that you physically do, and an inner energy. Femininity, when you're faking it, becomes even more obvious than the fake masculine. A fake feminine energy would be, if you ever come across a woman who just seemed to be overdoing it, she was just a little bit too girly. She was being girly, but like being extra girly to the point you could tell that she was kind of overplaying her hand. You ever come across a woman who was doing that? I've come across many of them. And that's fake femininity. You're not fooling anybody with that. Maybe the first few times a man comes across it, maybe he's fooled by it. And if a woman thinks she's fooling a man, she'll just keep doing it. But when you come across a man who's seen it enough, he knows that you're bullshitting and it doesn't work. So it becomes too obvious when it's performed. Again, even more than fake masculinity. Fake femininity is actually veiled combativeness because it's used as an obvious tool that most people can see through, even though they may not be able to pinpoint exactly what they're seeing. It's a form of combat, but it's the combat that the toxic feminine does. Because again, the toxic feminine cannot combat the way a toxic masculine does. Toxic masculine will be very direct and not combative, very direct and very aggressive. Whereas the toxic feminine has to go about it in a different way, but it's still toxic energy. It's still a combative energy. You're just using a different form of combat. Not all combat is hand-to-hand, physical, direct confrontation. A woman would be smart not to engage in too much of that because most women are not built for it, especially in dealing with a man. So real femininity shows up in genuine energy, genuine attitude, and everyday actions. It's not just about looks, by the way. A lot of people may think, well, femininity is about how you look. Not necessarily. That's part of it, but that's not the whole picture. Contrary to what you may have been told, being feminine does not mean that you have lost your independence. It does not mean that you should try to emulate the energy of a masculine man. Definitely don't do that. There is a balance to be struck. Again, it is best taught by a woman who has figured out femininity. Okay, so you get around a woman who understands femininity or women who explain this stuff in even more detail than what I'm getting into here. That's the best place to learn it. And this is what a woman is supposed to learn at home from a mother or a grandmother or an aunt or a sister. This is where you're supposed to learn. You're supposed to learn these things at home. Same way a man's supposed to learn masculinity from a father or a brother or an uncle or a grandfather. You're supposed to learn it from the strong men around you. A woman learns femininity from the feminine women around you. The problem for some women is that you didn't have any feminine women around you. You had a bunch of alpha women around you. So they only taught you how to be masculine. And now you get around other masculine men and they are rejecting you. And you're wondering what the hell the problem is. I'm telling you what the problem is. You were taught wrong. I apologize on behalf of your family. All right, they led you down the wrong path. What makes femininity high value today is its rarity. The opportunity is always in the opposite. Scarcity makes value go up. So the fact that there are fewer women looking to be feminine these days gives you more opportunity in being feminine to find a man who is looking for exactly that. We're looking for feminine women. Feminine women are attractive to masculine men. For whether we're talking business, whether we're talking personal, whether we're talking intimate, they are attractive simply because of the polarities of energy. We need the masculine needs the feminine needs the masculine. All that said, let's recap today's class, which is femininity is a skill. We've been talking about masculinity a lot. I told you I was going to talk to the ladies here, and today is the first of 4 straight episodes we're going to be talking about things for the ladies. Number 1, femininity is not a natural trait or a talent. It is learned in practice. The same way that I learned in practice how to dribble a basketball, you can learn in practice how to be feminine, even if you were never taught. Number 2, femininity is powerful when properly controlled. It is destructive when improperly controlled and out of control. Number 3, femininity is something that is claimed. It is not something that is performed. All right, and this is where it differs from masculine energy, whereas men, we tend to be direct and aggressive in the things that we do because of our physical and mental makeup. A woman goes about it in a different way. So you need to learn how to claim your femininity, not try to perform your femininity. And the best place to learn this is, again, from a feminine woman. All that said, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. We can learn how to start putting the right innate mental, spiritual, and emotional pieces in place when it comes to your business, when it comes to your performance, when it comes to how you carry yourself personally, when it comes to how you carry yourself and operate professionally. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's workonyourgameuniversity.com. Have me as your direct coach. Let's go to work. Work on your game. Dre all